Let's talk about common musician-related injuries. Hey everybody, I'm Travis Mark. I'm the host of the Musician's Mentor podcast, and now this Musician's Mentor YouTube channel. Regardless whether you have been here before or are new to the channel, welcome. Please do me a favor while you are here, hit subscribe, drop a comment, maybe even share some videos. Thank you. So there are so many common musician-related injuries. It doesn't seem to matter what instrument you play. Eventually, because of repetitive motion, injuries come. Tendonitis, trigger finger, golf elbow, tennis elbow, shoulder, elbow, wrist, knee, hip, back injuries. Some of these are complaints that I've had over the years, and many are complaints that I hear my fellow musicians talk and moan about quite often. And we're not even talking about things like hearing loss, which happens quite commonly amongst musicians because so many musicians don't protect their hearing. The body type injuries typically happen because of repetitive motion. You know, whether you are playing keyboard or guitar, violin, fiddle, cello, bass, you are putting your wrists in awkward positions and stretching these tiny muscles in your hands in ways that aren't always natural. And then over a period of doing that for years, you can develop things like carpal tunnel syndrome or arthritis, etc., etc., etc. From a drummer's perspective, I did some rather stupid things as a younger man and found myself getting injured a couple times, but always pushing through. What I started to notice was when I got to like 30, my right leg, my bass drum leg, started to give me some problems. Not my knee or my ankle or my foot, the hip part, commonly known as the piriformis muscle. Having spoken to dozens upon dozens upon dozens of drummers about this injury over the years, it seems a common problem, the sciatic nerve, right? Now, there are ways that you can relieve this. You can Google that. I'm not going to get into that because I'm not a doctor, but I am trying to paint a picture. So that is common amongst a lot of drummers. A lot of drummers end up getting back surgery, and that's what actually inspired today's video. A friend of mine who's really in good health, strong as an ox, recently picked up some gear when leaving a gig and actually put a disc in his spine out. I don't know how this happened. All I know is the body is weird sometimes, and it happened. He's been struggling so much that now he's been told he needs to possibly get back surgery. As somebody who was told that I need to get hip surgery for my sciatic nerve about 7 years ago, and then back surgery, which was related to a torn intercostal muscle that I pulled while moving gear myself, it gets me thinking about just some of the things that I've tried over the years to alleviate certain pain that has come from repetitive strain kind of motions or movements. Things like chiropractors or physiotherapists or dry needling, basic massage, stretching and yoga and resistance training and all these things. And some of it works and some of it doesn't. But it might work for you, just like some of the things didn't or did work for me. You've got to explore these things. However, I want to tell you about something that I discovered about 2 years ago that I really think has been life-changing. Myofascial release. I don't know all the science behind it. All I know is that it's actually worked. I was booked in for back surgery, and as a last resort, I got this woman's number, who is a myofascial release therapist, and I went there explaining my problems. She gave me a certain amount of time to try her therapy before I go ahead with the surgery, which I did not do thanks to her. It's essentially a form of massage, but not quite in the luxurious way you think of when you think of massage. What myofascial release therapists seem to do is reshape the fascia, which is the tissue, from what I understand, that helps the nerves and the muscle and all that. Now, again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't necessarily know all the ins and outs here, but I do know it worked. I went to her for about 6 to 8 sessions, and I was able to not get the back surgery that they wanted me to get, and I've been good ever since. Obviously, like anything, these things require maintenance, and it's required me going on a fairly regular basis to keep up with the progress. But what started as maybe twice a week turned into once a week, turned into once every 2 weeks, turned into once a month. And now I'm at a point where I can go every few months if I feel like I need to. And I wanted to let you all know about it because I have since recommended certain friends, pianists, fiddle players, and even a guitarist to go to her, and she's helped them all as well. So I realize that not everybody might have a myofascial release therapist near them, but they are starting to pop up more. So if you're really struggling, what have you got to lose? You might land up fixing a problem that you've had for years and are just pushing through and actually worsening the problem. Of course, away from things like myofascial release and chiropractors and physiotherapists and operations, there are things that we can do to help our bodies. We all know that. We get to a certain point and we know what we put in our body plays a part. How much sleep we get plays a part. Whether we exercise, it plays a part. So if you find yourself playing an instrument like the drums, or maybe you are doing a repetitive motion as a cello player, or whatever it is, you're going to know where your pain comes from. And if you haven't yet, you can maybe explore ways to start preparing your body before it gets to the point that you need any of these therapies. Learn to stretch, learn to warm up. I'm not saying be one of these bend your wrist backwards kind of people that you sometimes see backstage as a musician, but learn to be good to your body, because even with all the musicality in the world, your body essentially is your main instrument. And if your body starts to fail you, you're not going to be able to perform at your best. And if you can't perform at your best, it might start to affect your mental states. And once that starts to get affected, a lot of things start to spiral downward. So before that starts to happen, protect your health. If you want to check out more about myofascial release, I have put a link below. And I want to remind you that I'm in no way getting paid to talk about myofascial release. I'm not endorsed by these people. None of that. It just was very helpful for me as a musician, and it might be very helpful for you. I hope that helps. If it did, please do hit that subscribe button. I'll see you on the next one.